So, what's the trading tip of the week?
Futures trading tip of the week is to travel where the trade isn't crowded. Um, I've talked about ES, talked about ZB, talked about NASDAQ, but a lot of times those trades can be incredibly crowded. You want to look at some assets that are not super flooded with a bunch of macro fund money, high level traders. So look at the Swiss franc, look at Bloomberg Commodity Index, look at the Canadian future, look at ZN. I know they're reporting that the bond market is having its best year since 2020. Fake news. The bond market is still leaning to the downside. So while everyone's fighting over the NASDAQ and ES, you want to pick a slow moving future that a lot of people are not trading. So you can be able to, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You're able to get an easier win. Someone asked me, well, what about liquidity? Well, you're not trading 3,000 contracts. You're trading between 5 to 50. You shouldn't have liquidity issues in any of them. But while the market is in tumult right now, you may want to look at the currency. So like the Australian dollar, British pound, Canadian dollar, Bloomberg Commodity Index, and take advantage of those markets while everyone is fighting for spots in ES, ZB, UB, and NASDAQ.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Stay low.
It's like red shirting and you come back, play 8th grade. Easy money. 52, 22, and 12. Look like Wimby. So
A lot to talk about. Why is everything overvalued and why is everything overvalued and why is everything falling?
Things are falling because they're coming back to the prices where they should be. I'll get into it later, but this is going to be the third year that we had more than 20% return in the market 3 years in a row. Shadi, you brought this up last year, right? The last time that happened was in the .com era. 98, 99, 2000. People are front running the gains because they know a corrective measure will be taken sometime next year in 2028. This is why Sam is trying to clean up his image and his kerfuffle that he had last week with Brad Gerstner, so that IPO exit will be okay. But there's been a lot of overvaluation and overhyped talk about AI because everyone is trying to squeeze in the gains they need in to get them through the next 2 or 3 years for the downturn that we're going to have. So are we overvalued? Yes. We'll talk about Peter Thiel and NVIDIA and all that in a second, but the market has run up a lot and is just correcting to where it should be, and people are panicking. And most people are panicking because they bought at levels where they shouldn't be buying. Bitcoin, NVIDIA, Oracle, Oscar Health, everything was bought at too high of a price. Palantir as well. And when the front running ends, people begin to take profits. And Rashad, I love when you always say, there's nothing wrong with taking profit. But when you see Buffett start to ease into Google for the first time in history, on the exit, Apple and Google are going to be the new bonds. Apple is projected to give 26 to 30% return over the next 5 years. It's 5 to 6% a year. That's the new bond market. It's a haven of safety. The market will ultimately be okay, but some of these valuations are absolutely insane. And I told you to wait for the price.
Yeah, I agree. I think yes. Some of these companies, I see somebody in the chat put Palantir in terms of valuations. Are just, I mean, it has run to a place where it almost feels uncomfortable. I think that the issue is that earnings has kept pace with this type of growth, and at some point that has to decelerate, right? Like we'll talk about this more in the show when as we looking forward to Wednesday. Like when the market is priced to perfection, right? Perfection won't be good enough, right? So even there's Goliath that's going to report and how it can shift the market.
Yep.
If it does well and has future guys, it still might not be enough.
It may not be enough.
It still might not be enough, and that they will be dominant. And the companies that are around it, the Metas of the world, and I know everybody's like, "What about Meta?" The Metas will be fine. Microsoft will be fine. Apple will be fine, but there will be some others that.
The rest of you.
Wrap it up. Here's a safe way to put it, right? If NVIDIA sneezes, some companies will have pneumonia.
Y'all will have COVID 2.0.
COVID 20, right? Like it's that type of scenario in these type of markets when all indicators are pointing to all-time highs, and you look at the statistics and everybody keeps bringing up the dot-com bubble. I don't think a crash is imminent, but I will say the valuations have gone up pretty substantially to a point where it's like, all right, we need to take a deeper look at it. But we'll see. I mean, we thought something like this could happen this year, right? When we're talking about can earnings keep up to the valuations? It happened in 24, right? Which is why we were over 20%. It's happening here, and we're pacing toward another 20% year.
Yep.
We'll see what happens in the first quarter of 26. And that's why Wednesday's so important. When you're talking about NVIDIA, you're not just talking about AI, you're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about cloud, you're talking about a lot of different sectors. What that future guidance looks like into Q1, Q2 of 2026 will be very, very important to see how this next year is going to go.
This reminds me of the first year, shot to Kyrie. He hit the shot over Steph, right? Cool. You can only go into the game winner bag so often. So I think NVIDIA would do well in earnings. But if the entire market is relying upon blockbuster earnings for one company for equal weighted S&P funds to do well, that's not good.
Have we seen this before?
Yep. 2022 .com era. We've seen this a couple times. Even the Mag 7.
Exactly. Because it feels like 4 years ago we were
used to be
saying
Apple.
you just took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, this is how we used to talk about Apple. Like Apple fights for us, and we needed to beat earnings, and it's so dominant, and we needed to do that. And even if it's great, it's not great enough. And now people talk rotation, and it's just another Mag 7 that's now rotated into that spot. And now it's NVIDIA. And even when Thiel says that he's selling out his positions, he didn't just leave the Mag 7 out. He said we're gonna park it in 2 other Mag 7s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's just interesting to see. I think, like I said, I think we both are in agreement that NVIDIA is going to have a great quarter. And Jensen's kind of got ahead of it, hasn't he? Right? He said, "Look,
absolutely.
we're talking about 500 billion. Like these are not numbers to sneeze at."
Yeah, he want to say I'm not them. Salesforce.
It's like, yo, don't get this confused.
Don't put me in the same category as y'all other little CRM.
Yeah, we are not the same. 500 billion is different. That's more than the market cap of I think everything outside of the top 30 companies in the world. Like, this is not the same.
We got to have an honest conversation though. Like, there shouldn't be this much. And NVIDIA's my pick, my baby. I love it. The entire U.S. economy and stock market cannot be relying upon one company to deliver blockbuster returns to move up the GDP and defeat China. There was Apple 4 years ago, and even that stress didn't allow Tim Cook to create what he needed to create fast enough because he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. Mistakes get made when not only are you leading HQ looking over product line, but then you have the president saying, "Hey, I really need you to hit a home run right now for me." It's too much pressure.
Can they deliver? I mean, would you rather have any other company be in this position? I feel like this is the company that if there was one that was primed to be in this position, this is it. The fact that they're doing this and they don't have China, right? Like they don't have that market, which will be part of this. We'll see a full year of Blackwell coming up.
Yeah.
We understand the dominance. We watched all the other hyperscalers in the Mag 7's report before them, which is very strategic on their part. I looked at the numbers, bro. Everybody's CapEx did not go down. Everybody's CapEx went up, which talks about the demand, and we know where they're shopping. And so if there was going to be a company, it would be this one.
NVIDIA will be fine. Meta will be fine. Microsoft will be fine. Google, dynasty of the ecosystem, Voltron, right? Build community. But the rest of the market, I'm like, even if we look at quantum, and this is not my moment to say, hey, to beat up on these stocks, ARQQ is down 43%. IONQ is down 39%. QMCD is down 40%. RGTI is down 46%. I'm looking at the rest of the market start to pull back 20 to 25% for some quality companies. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign.
And it's not just those inside of the outside of the Max 7s. If you look at Oracle, and Oracle's one of
Oracle.
right? You look at the pullback there. This is now a cloud infrastructure situation with them. If you look at Dell, right? These are companies that I've spoken about in detail, and Dell will be reporting on the 25th. I'd be interested to see what their AI situation looks like in their partnership with NVIDIA. They're all being affected by this. You know what I mean? But inside of that, if you look at the memory sector, if you look at the Microns, you look at the Western Digitals, those they haven't fallen at the same level as of some other sectors inside of AI, which tells you like that demand is still there. In fact, they're actually talking about a storage. I read an article in the journal how Samsung was like, hey, we don't even have enough, right? When they said they didn't even have enough memory to sell, then you watch the American companies, the Microns of the world, the Western Digital, you saw them spike over the past couple of weeks. So it's just interesting and fascinating to be a witness to it.
I agree. And Rashad, I want to bring you into the conversation from an advisor standpoint. Like I'm hearing advisors say, go to S&P equal weighted and to now look at the S&P 50, not the 500, the 50. So that tells you that, and I hate to pick on Salesforce because once again, I love being off. I know I won't be invited to Dream World as a result, but a quality American company like Salesforce has no value in comparison to Perplexity, ChatGPT, anything that Google is doing, Apple's AI integration, Palantir, and the real in the future. It's almost like they're getting reclassified as B tier when they were A tier stock. That is not good for the American economy at all. These companies have been overvaluated. And if I can be I don't want to front run this, but if we look with inflation, how much money has been printed into the economy, and these companies being overvalued, it's being done so to prevent the recession that is inevitable. We've technically been right at break even or below since 2019.